What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. We've made it to week 18 of the NFL season. One final look at the main slate. For Sunday, we have 13 games. Week 18 is always a bit of a toss up, but if you put in some extra work, you can kind of figure out which teams are worth targeting and which teams are worth fading. So we're going to try to do that in this video. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you haven't already. You can check out all the socials, prize picks, Twitter, the website, all in the description. Starting off at the quarterback position, we have Josh Allen at $8,100. The Bills are pretty much locked into winning the AFC East. It would be very surprising if they happen to lose to the Jets this week, but there's still some reason to play Josh Allen. They should be out there in the game until they get out to a big lead, if they do get out to a couple touchdown lead. But he's at home. The Jets have a very terrible secondary. This is second meeting. Obviously, they're in the same division. He put up 25 against them earlier, threw for 366 yards. Coming off of a game where it was just terrible conditions to really throw the ball. We did see him get 2 rushing touchdowns, but he threw 3 interceptions. Allen's having a very good season fantasy-wise. I think he's going to continue that. So if you're not worried about spending up for your quarterback, Josh Allen is the best one because you're not going to see much out of Aaron Rodgers with the Packers being locked into the number 1 seed. Tom Brady doesn't have very many weapons left, and he's somewhat expensive, and Carolina is still a decent defense. I think Kyler Murray would be the second best option. I'm always looking to get 2 running quarterbacks. They have a lot to play for going up against Seahawks. They want to win for seeding purposes. You're not going to have Burrow, no Lamar Jackson. So Stafford at 67. The Rams can still move up slightly or fall back in the standings depending on how this one goes. And San Fran has a lot to play for. They need this win. So I think Stafford will be out there. His price tag is fair enough that you can consider him. Russell Wilson coming off of finally had a good game where he threw 4 touchdown passes against the Lions at home. It's one against Arizona where they have a pretty good defense, but this one does have, I believe, the highest total on the slate, so it should be a kind of a shootout back and forth. I think you can play Russell Wilson if you wanted to at 63, but if you're looking to play a quarterback that has a lot to play for down here in the 6K range, Taysom Hill looks to be a very good option just because he gives you that rushing upside, which is huge for DFS. He's going to throw 25 to 30 times a game. He's going to run 10 to 15 times. Gives you rushing touchdown upside. Can throw probably a touchdown or 2. This defense is very poor for Atlanta, so expect Taysom Hill to be one of the better value quarterbacks at only $6,200. And playing a guy like Taysom Hill, you don't have to stack him with anybody, so it's not like you don't really want to stack him with any of the receivers. You could stack him with Kamara if you wanted to, but you can play him by himself, and that's perfectly fine. You can look to Jared Goff also at 54. The Packers will probably be resting some key defensive pieces. They wouldn't expect a lot of their better defensive players to play, much more than a couple of series. So you could see Jared Goff, who should be back, and he's playing decent near the end of the year in terms of fantasy-wise. He does have finally starting to hook up with his rookie wide receiver, St. Brown. Running back, there's about 3 or 4 running backs that look very appealing if you're not going to be going all the way up for Jonathan Taylor, which he looks better than any of the other top-end guys because the Colts need the win as well. We probably won't see much out of Aaron Jones, Najee Harris. They need a win and some help, so he still has something to play for if you wanted to take a shot, but Baltimore's defense is still decent against the run and decent in general. I'm looking in the 6K range to get a couple of guys that I'm looking to target. First guy is going to be James Conner. The Cardinals, they have already ruled out Chase Edmonds. Conner is currently questionable, but I expect him to play. And if he does play, he's looking at getting full workload at the running back position. We've seen him be very productive when he's given a full workload. We saw Chase Edmonds be very productive when he was given a full workload when Conner was out. So a guy that has 16 rushing touchdowns on the year should be able to add to that total against a very terrible Seattle defense. And he can run it back in this game because you're getting the hottest running back in football right now, Rashad Penny, going on the other side. He's been getting the clear amount of work in the backfield. Nobody's taking work away from him. He got 27 touches last game. He's not going to get you much in the receiving game, but Seattle's also a team that likes to run the football. Arizona has been middle of the pack against the run. They've been decent for most of the year, but I still like Penny the way he's looked and definitely playing for the starting job next year. So Conor Penny, 2 running backs that look very appealing. You can add a third running back with like Devin Singletary. I like him at 6,000. You can also look to like Eli Mitchell in a tournament option in the 5K range. Don't have much. I think the 6K looks very appealing. I see if Henry, I don't think he was going to play. If he does play, he's probably not going to play much. So you could look to the Foreman. And the value range, you have very banged up Tampa Bay backfield, so Vaughn will get a lot of work, but they also do have Le'Veon Bell there. But Singletary's been, after they were giving Breida some work and started off the season giving Zach Moss a lot of work, he's been the only guy that's been getting most of the carries out of the backfield. He can get you receptions and targets, so I expect him to continue to be looking at 15 to 20 plus touches a game. Very good matchup against this terrible Jets defense. Wide receiver, I will not be playing Devontae Adams. Cooper Kupp is a good play. He's better than Adams because Adam won't play much if he does play in this game at all. Debo looks fine. He looks probably better if there is Garoppolo there. He did have that long touchdown connection with Trey Lance, but Lance still, they're not going to be looking to throw the ball much with Lance in there unless they have to when they get down to a deficit. But first guy I'm going to plug in here is going to be Mike Evans. The Bucks still need the win, I guess. I mean, they don't need the win, but it'd be nice to have because you don't want to fall back in the standings. And Evans is looking to get the record for another 1,000-yard season. They already said they're going to try. Well, he wants to get that, and I'm sure Brady will do everything he can to get him that record. So 71 without Antonio Brown, without Chris Godwin, he's going to be like the only big threat in terms of getting you a lot of yards and targets. Gronk is also there, but in terms of the red zone opportunity, it's going to be Mike Evans and Gronk as the only two guys really to be getting a lot of red zone looks, besides like a long deep ball to like Scotty Miller, Johnson, or for that Cyril guy that caught the game winner last week. Another guy in the 7K range would be Stephon Diggs. Bills should be able to pile up the points here at home, trying to just end the regular season with a stomping of the Jets. The Jets' secondary is so bad. We saw Diggs, after a string of poor performances, he did have his best game of the year against the Jets, where he went for 162 yards and a touchdown. Would expect Diggs to maybe make some more noise this week. So I love Diggs. I like Mike Evans as my pay-up. I think Jefferson looks great as a pay-up as well. You can go Armana St. Brown in the mid-range. I like DK Metcalf maybe to continue continue building off of last week where he finally looked decent. And then in the value range here, I'm going to go with Chris Kirk. This game is just going to be my favorite one to target. You have a lot of firepower on both sides of the offense, even without Hopkins. You're seeing a lot of targets for Chris Kirk. He's like the only guy that they're throwing the ball downfield to because AJ Green doesn't have that much speed anymore, and Rondale Moore can, but he's just been a bit quiet over the last couple of weeks, over like the second half of the season. But Kirk's getting 9 to 10 targets, 9 got up to 12 against Detroit. It's a good matchup against Seattle, gives you touchdown upside as well. Needed to go with the value receiver. I think you can look to a couple guys in the 4K range like Cyril Grayson at 44. In the 3K range, you're going to be looking at like Ray McLeod, who's kind of overtaken the maybe even the second wide receiver duties. And Claypool gets his targets, but he's gotten more targets over the last couple of weeks. And James Washington has done nothing. So a guy that playing for a team that doesn't throw the ball very much downfield with Big Ben, he's just kind of looking at checkdowns. You can easily accumulate some fantasy points at $3,800. Tight end wise, going with a couple of guys that look appealing are Gronk, I'd say, at 63. Depending on who's the quarterback, you can look to Kittle. If it's Trey Lance again, I'll probably pass. But Gronk looks good, and then in the mid-range, you're looking at Zach Ertz, Dawson Knox. You're looking at Freiermuth at 46, or you're looking to pay up for Mark Andrews. But Andrews might be slightly more popular. This week, you don't have Travis Kelce on the slate. You don't have Waller. I mean, now he hopefully plays on the night game. And defense-wise, in the 2K range, you have a couple that look appealing. I'd say the Chicago Bears look good against the Vikings. You have potentially looking at the Giants against Washington, but I'll probably look to get up to the Washington football team against the Giants instead at 31. You can look to the Steelers. They've been getting to the quarterback and racking up sacks. You can look to them against Huntley. And if you're looking to pay up for a defense, look to the Bills or the Colts. They're probably the two best ones to pay up for. So that's it for the DraftKings side. Let's go over to FanDuel. So it's going to be the same core plays on both sites, something that I'm going to try to do. I love the Taysom Hill play on FanDuel at quarterback. He's only $7,700, so you're getting a pretty good price tag on him. I mean, you can easily get up to Kyler Murray or Tom Brady if you wanted to, or you can go down to like Russell Wilson instead, or go all the way down to like Huntley. But I think Hill's going to run for probably a rushing touchdown. He's going to run probably over 50 yards against this bad Atlanta defense. The running backs, Taylor's over 10K. That's going to be slightly tough to get to. I like the guys in the 7K range with Rashad Penny and James Conner, and even a $6,700 Devin Singletary. They look like guys that are going to be getting over 20 touches. You can't really say the same thing about like Dillon, Jones, Swift, any of these guys, Shoney Michel, Eli Mitchell probably, but he's 8K and the Rams have a good rush defense. So I just like the guys that are a little bit cheaper. Wide receiver, I like Evans. He's affordable at 78. Another guy that looks appealing would be Stephon Diggs. They're the top two for me in the 7K range. You can also look to DK Metcalf. At his affordable price tag and value range, I like Chris Kirk at only 62. He's going to continue to get 8 to 12 targets, I'd say. And if you needed to go down here in the 5K range, you have like Stuart Grayson at 56. Maybe you can look to Cole Beasley, 55, or you can even go to Gabe Davis with Sanders not looking like he's going to play. He's only 52, and he continues to make some big plays. I expect the Bills to just pile up the points. Tight end wise, it's going to be Gronk. Looks good at 74, but I probably like the savings on Zach Ertz at only 56. You're saving $1,800 with going to Ertz instead, and he continues to get a lot of targets. And defense wise, it's still in the value range. I'm looking at the Bears at 39. I like the Vikings a bit at 37. You can look to the Steelers at 35 just to be able to rack up some sacks. And then if you're paying up, it's going to be for the Bills at 45. They're not even that expensive going up against the Jets. So that's about it for the video. Thank you for watching. Hope you guys had a good NFL season. I'll be back for the playoffs as well. Still be making the NBA videos during the week, and I'll see you all next time.